Chat. We are now joined by our legal contributor, Heather Quick. Heather, welcome to the show. So I don't know if you had a chance to watch the hoopla going on at the top about these sugar babies, sugar daddies. Okay, so let's talk about this. When we see these relationships forming for, air quotes, companionship, is it legal?
Well, if it's just companionship, but if there's money being exchanged, no. The statute states, when we're looking at prostitution, that giving or receiving your body for sexual activity in exchange for money.
So if it's just going out on a date and you get $1,000 to go out on a date and you're not engaging in any sort of sexual intercourse, then that's fine.
That's not prostitution.
It's not, yeah, okay, there we go.
But what if it's something that just happens, which I'm sure is how they put it. You know, it's just something that happens after the date. These two decided to do it. It has nothing to do with our company, our, you know, match site.
Prostitution?
Yes. I mean, I really think it
happens after?
But then they're getting money too. I mean, it's not just for a dinner.
And there's no statute of limitations on the money.
Gift, and I think it's just horrible. So, and I think these young folks, and men and women, and sugar mamas, and sugar daddies, I think it's horrible. Where are your morals? Like, go out and meet somebody, and if
honey, when it comes to my morals and get my lights turned off, where is the sugar daddy?
But why? Wait, we're going back to the thing, like waiting on tables and working. You know, there are other ways to get your.
There are lots of jobs out there.
And there are. I saw a sign the other day.
What if I don't have enough?
Help wanted at the gate gas station.
There you
There's tons of
go.
places to work.
Okay, so let's take sex off the table. Let's completely take off the table. So they're going out on a date, no sex involved. They're getting money and they're getting things. Can they be taxed on that? Is that considered income?
Do you have to file a 1099?
Is
How does
that
that work?
something that if the gentleman who has bequeathed this companionship
Is it
trait,
cash or credit
he wants
card?
his stuff back,
Or
can
food
he?
stamps.
Does he have legal rights to get it back? What are the other legal ramifications involved in this?
Well, if she's working for it, even by being the companion, did you read the website? You know, oh, this is for business. Just like business partners enter into a contract as to our relationship, we are going to enter into a contract.
So it's a
I'm going to take you
contract.
out to dinner. That's the way they put it on their website, which is fascinating because they're trying to make it look like, okay, this is all business relationship, and then the woman saying, oh, yeah,
Mentoring.
mentoring. That is the stupidest thing I ever saw that woman on that interview. Really?
But she
really?
said she
How
got
are you
in excess.
mentoring?
Okay, so taxes. Do they have to pay taxes?
Yeah, yeah.
I want to
Well,
know
they
if
give
they have to pay
taxes.
taxes.
IRS coming after you.
It's under 11,000 per person, so I would essentially say probably if it's getting to more than 11,000, I think.
11,000.
Well, she kept it at 10. She said she had
per
gotten
person,
10,000.
because they're going to not want it to be traced, and if she's depositing, but if she's doing it in small increments, then no.
But the way this is all worded on the website, I would think that the people running this website, I mean, the woman who is being interviewed by Heather, I would think that they've had lawyers like yourself, maybe a whole team, look over all of the wording to make sure that it isn't legal or it isn't illegal.
What they're doing is legal, setting the folks up, but the exchange of money for sex is not. Okay.
Well, she's saying they're not having sex. But she got a whole lot of cereal on top of her refrigerator, though.
She
So-
said some of them
You seen all those boxes of cereal on top? She's getting paid. The cereal ain't
She's a
cheap.
sugar baby.
Cereal's not cheap.
It's not. It's at least $4 a box.
And the milk too on top.
She had like 8 boxes of cereal. Sister girl getting paid.
I'm on oatmeal, man. That's the deal of the day.
Did you watch the show yesterday? Did you see? What is your fascination with cornflakes?
Yeah.
You love cornflakes.
No, I don't know.
Did she have any cornflakes at the top of her fridge?
Probably just the flavored kind, because those are more like the chocolate, the one with fruit.
Yeah, that's the Count Chocula.
Okay. Well, before we run out of time here, we also wanted to get your take on the other story that we talked about a second ago, and this is about the group that they're in trouble because they're running up to the parking meters, they're putting the money in right before the meter attendant gets to it, and now the city has filed a couple of lawsuits against that group, I guess for harassment. It's not necessarily the First Amendment speech, it's more of just you're harassing our employees. What do you think about that?
I think it's a stretch. I think that they are retaliating because of the money and harassment, even the videoing. You know, you have a right to video people out in public, and so they're just out there, you know, walking around. And what I saw, at least from that video, it didn't appear harassment. They're staying within a distance, and she's a government employee. It's not a private citizen. They're out there putting the meter, you know, checking the meters, ticketing.
Is there any statute that says, especially here in Florida, that you can't? If I can't take a bucket of change and, you know,
No,
make
there'd
sure.
be no way to do that. Like he said, I mean, there's an ordinance. You have a right to park there, and when it expires, they certainly have a right to ticket you.
Oh, let me ask you this.
Though when you put the money in, I find it fascinating that that's their cause. I mean, really, when
Yeah.
we look at the causes available in this world today, like I am, protesting
Yeah.
parking tickets.
It's so funny. They were
Really?
so upset at the DMV for like renewing their license plate or their registration or something and having to pay these exorbitant fees. So how did they fight that? That's right. They go around to the big bucket of change and pay for other people's
mean,
stuff.
I'm
It's like,
like-
wouldn't you save your money?
Like, how do we get roads? How do people enforce things and signs and things that keep us safe? You may not like it, but it's just, I think it's ridiculous. They're a cute bunch of kids, I saw their picture.
Well, apparently they look cute, but apparently they're
Yeah.
very scary because city officials are having to pay for counseling for.
And they've
for
got
their
cameras and all this change. How much money are they
So
spending?
let me say that the Robin Hooders say that they are protected under their First Amendment right to free speech,
Right.
and that they are this is a form of protest. So twice the city has tried to go after them. Twice it's been kicked down. Now they're appealing it. So could they technically say they're protesting by doing
Yes,
this?
I think so. I think that,
Interesting.
and their First Amendment right to free speech and say, hey, we don't like this, and we're going to follow this meter maid at a distance, not touching her. We're not really speaking to her.
Right.
They may be heckling. They probably are. But then really to prove mental distress.
Yeah.
Just very, very high standard.
They've given us a rap and we've got to go and they're going to shoot me for this.
Yes,
But
you're in trouble.
Right, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble,
Yeah.
but I'm just dying to know if a meter maid or a meter parking attendant is coming up to a meter and it is expired, but somebody runs up at the last minute and they put a quarter in it and they beat him to the punch. Technically, was that guy violating the ordinance because for a smidgen there, you saw it had expired? I just want to know for my own benefit.
I would say yes. Or does it take until she actually writes the ticket? But once they start writing,
That's it.
they're not going to change
Yeah,
their mind.
yeah, that's right.
We've
They
all
gotta
been
go
there. If they put that
writing.
boot on, it's done.
Yeah.
They're not going to undo it.
Well, thank you, Heather. We appreciate you. All right. If you have any questions or you need any legal advice, you can check out the Quick Law Group's website, which is quicklawgroup.com. Well, still to come here on the chat. We all know Mariah Carey, beautiful, very talented. Oh, and that's not her again. We are really messing.
That's Christy. She's
But
way
she is
prettier.
and way nicer, and apparently
So
she doesn't
cooler,
have
so
a
much
huge
cooler.
list of demands when she comes in to anchor on the show. But apparently Mariah Carey has a lot of demands, and we're going to talk about that coming up. It's a good picture of you two, by the way. All right, and still to come, we're going to be talking about